Hello there. In this particular lecture, we are going to learn about how to handle form validation in React.js. Well, form validation ensures that the user enter the correct and the complete data into the input field. Well, it prevents the submission of incomplete or wrong data to the server. There are two different type of form validation. One is client side validation, which is done in the browser before the submission, and one is server side validation, which is done after the form submission by the backend. Well, we are not going to cover the server side validation in this video. We are going to cover the client side validation in our React.js. So let's go to our Visual Studio Code and understand that how to handle form validation in React.js. Let's start. So we are on our Visual Studio Code and we are on our app.jsx file, right? Here we are having a div and provided some CSS with the help of Tailwind CSS here, right? Now we have also created a component which is a sign up form component. As you can see, it is completely blank, but we are going to call it here sign up form, right? Yeah, we have called this and let's write something here, anything random, and let's go on our website and check whether we are getting okay. We are not, it is not showing anything. Why? The reason could be that the text is not white. The text should be white, right? Yeah, now let's see again. Yes, you can see I'm getting the text whatever I have written there, right? Okay, so we have imported our child component here. Now we are going to create our form inside this sign up form component. So let's go here and let's remove this first. So before starting with the main HTML part, let's do something. Let's create some user state. So we are going to create first the form data user state, right? So const form data, comma, set form data equals to use state bracket, and inside this we are going to create an object, and in this particular object we are going to use two different keys, which is name, right, and the second key is email, right? Yeah, so this is our first user state which we have created. Let me do some correction, like let's fix this. Okay, fine. Now let's create another user state which is for the errors, right? So error, comma, set error equals to use state, then a bracket, and inside this bracket we are going to create a blank object, right? We are going to create a blank object. Fine. Now let's go to our HTML part. So here let's first give some class to this div. Let's say let's give a height of what? Let's give a height of 40% and width of 30%, background as gray. Okay, fine. Let's go to our code. Okay, this is how our UI is looking. Fine, I think it should be little much more darker. Okay, now it is good. Okay, fine. Now let's create a form here. For that we are going to use the form tag, right? Now in this particular form we are first going to add a name field, right? So let's create a div inside of it, and in this div let's give a label as the name, and let's create our input field, input field, and let's give a name as name, and the value as what is the value? It will be form data. This form data is coming from here, right? Form data dot name, right? Form data is holding our object and we are using this name. Whatever the name value is present here will be used as a value for this input field, right? Yeah. Now on the change, whenever this input field will change, we are going to use a function to handle that changes. Okay, let's add it right now. So for that we are going to use the onChange event, right? And now here I'm going to call a function. Let's name the function as handle change, right? So let's define that function. So that particular function const handle change equals to, let's take the event from there, and set form data. We are going to use this set form data, right? And then we will put a bracket. We are going to change the values, right? So first we are going to use a spread operator, that is three dots, and then call the form data, right? And then put a comma, and after that put a square bracket, and inside this we are going to use e dot target dot name, and then the value as e dot target dot value. This name is not this name, right? This is the computerized property. It means then whenever you are using this handle change function, and at that time for whatever field you want, you are sending, right? And that it will capture that field and will change the value, right? It means that this particular name is representing both name and email, right? It will represent all the fields present inside your object. Fine. Yeah. Now, coming forward to like our this particular function is not done, right? Okay. Yeah. So now coming forward to the another div, which is div, and here we will write the label. The label is showing that we are going to have the email, and then we are going to have a input field. Input field type is email, right? And after that we are going to have the name as email, and then we are going to have this value, right? The value as what? Value as form data dot email. Fine. And after that on change you do what? Handle change, right? Similarly, that whatever we have done above, the same thing we are doing here also. So we have created two different fields. Let's see that how it is looking. Okay, so not a very good UI. Let's do something with the UI also, right? Class name as text excel and font bold, and here let's give a margin in the x direction as 20. So it is here, and it's where it's input field. Okay, it is below of it, right? Yeah. So now similarly we are going to do, okay, let's give a margin in the y direction also as 5. I guess 5 will be sufficient, right? Yeah. Now similarly we are going to give a same class and same css to our second div, which is holding email. As you can see here, I'm having this also, right? Let's do something with the input field also, that is class name. Let's say the border as 2 and border as white, right? Yeah, you can see the border is visible, right? Yeah. Similarly, let's do the same, give the same css to our this particular input field also, and you can see I'm having this name and the email, right? Now coming forward, and how what we are going to do now, we are going to create a button below of it, right? And the button will say submit, and here what we are going to do, we are going to do the type as the submit, right? The button type is submit. Fine, I hope you understood the thing till now. Now coming forward, few things which we want and I want you to know is that we are going to use another function which is handle submit. Like whenever the button is clicked, the submit operation is initiated. At that time, what happened? The submit, on submit, we are going to call another function which is handle submit, which we are going to create now. So let's copy it down and let's go on the top, right? And we are going to write here the main, the important function. Let's write it below, right? That is to submit. So const handle submit equals to the event, then an arrow, and then curly bracket. Here we are going to use the e dot prevent default, right? To protect it from the default behavior, right? Yeah. Now if validate, validate, we have not created this function till now, but we will create it very soon. After that, if this validate will check that whether all the input fields are filled correctly or not, right? So here we are calling that particular function and we are going to write alert, and inside the alert we are going to say form submitted, right? And also console.log, and here we will ask for the form data. Fine. Now our main task is to create this validate function also. So let's create that validate function. This is quite lengthy, but if you put your focus here, you will understand each and everything very clearly, right? So let's do something. Let's create this particular function. Let's write let's validate and equals to, put a bracket like arrow function, right? We are going to create a new variable, or we can say a new object, that is let new error equals to, let's make it an object, right? Why this new variable or a object is here? Well, it is used to store all the error which is coming while validation, right? So it will be stored inside of this, and after that we will transfer everything to this set error, right? Okay, we will see later. Let's create if not form data dot name, right? In that case, what you do, in that case you do one thing, that is new error, new errors dot name equals to name is required. Fine. Now coming forward, if what, if not email, not email, it is basically if not what I say, if not form data, form data dot email, then in that case what you do, you write new error dot email equals to emails, email is required. Okay, what we have done here, okay, we are taking this field outside of it, right? Fine, email is required. Fine, it is working fine, right? Okay, now let's move forward, and now we will say that we have actually stored two different error inside this new error object, right? And now we are going to transfer this particular errors inside of it. Listen to me, there are a lot of error and validation part which you can use while validating name or while validating email. Like in the name, the name can be unique, for that different kind of logic I use. For the email, different kind of logic I use, like there should be at the rate, also the length should be accurate, that email should be verified, multiple things are there. Well, I'm not explaining that part, you can easily search it on the chat gpt and others, because it depends on what kind of validation you require, but I'm just explaining you that how you can do the whole validation task, right? So this is the proper syntax and the format. Whatever the things you want to include, you can, right? Yeah. So after that, I'm going to say error set error and then put a bracket, and inside of this I'm going to store this new errors. Fine. Yeah. So now we have done what? we have stored all the errors which are stored inside this new error into the set errors, right? Yeah. Now coming forward, what I will do, I will say that return what object dot keys bracket new errors dot length equals to 0. So what this particular validate function is doing, it is actually doing what, it is checking that whether this new error is having the length equals to 0 or not. If it is not equals to 0, it means that there's some kind of error which is available inside this new error. In that particular case, what will happen, it will return as a false, right? And if that false went inside this if statement, at that time the form will not get submitted and the data will not get printed at your console, right? So this is the logic. We are checking that whether the form data dot name is actually having any value or not. We are checking that form data dot email is actually having any value or not. If not, it not get changed from this particular labels, right, or the input fields, it will show error. Fine. Yeah, I hope you understood the concept very clearly. Now coming forward, we have done the validate part, we have done the handle change part, we have done the handle submit part. Now one more thing which I want you to include is that after this input field you must include this error, right? Error, what this error is coming from here, right? This error is from here, error. If that error dot name, right, anything, any error dot name is included, in that case what you do, you put a paragraph here, you put a paragraph here, right? And inside this paragraph you do what, you write that error dot name, error dot name, right? Yeah. Let's give it some class, that is text as red. Fine. So it will do what, in case if you submit the form and you have not entered any value inside of it and it done the validation from here and get any kind of errors inside this set error, right? So in that case it will show that particular error here, that your, it will show what, it will show that the name is required. Fine. The similar thing we are going to do in our email also. Now here what we are going to check, error dot email and error dot email, right? Yeah. Now this is done. I hope everything worked fine. Okay, fine. uh let's go to our app.jsx. Here we are having, let's check our field. Okay, this submit button is not looking cool. I want everything to be look better. Fine. So let's just 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Class name, let's do the same thing here. Let's copy this, let's paste this and give it background color as this amber and rounded. Fine. Okay, let's give a padding in the x direction as 5 and padding in the y direction as 3. Now it's looking good. Take it. Now give a any name, like the name is Piyush and email is piyushgupta at the rate gmail.com and click on the submit button. When I click, you can see the form is submitted. Now let's go to our console. Let's go to our console. What happening? Okay, so the form is submitted now. Okay, so now you can see I'm having an object here in our console, right? So rather than having this data in the console, what actually we do when we create a part any big project is that we transfer this whole information of form data to our backend API. This is how we work, right? So since we are not applying any API here and having any backend, that's why I'm showing you that I have collected all the information from the input field to my backside, that is inside my console, right? Okay, fine. Let's see a few more things. That is, let's remove the name. And now if I click on submit, you can see I'm having this name is required. How it is coming? It is coming from here, because when I clicked on the submit button without entering the name, it is doing what? It is checking, it is validating, and while validation, it saw that the name field is not present. So it done what? It done new error is included inside this object, and which is having the name is required. Now this particular object has transferred its information inside this set error, and now set error hold what? Dot name is holding error, means set error dot name is there is something which is present. So that's why this paragraph is running and this information is also getting printed, right? I hope you understood. It is very common, right? Even here also, if I click on submit, I'm getting this email is required. Fine. So this is how this validation part is work. The form is not getting submitted and it is showing me that what kind of error I'm having, right? I hope you understood the concept very clearly. And this is how we do the validation. Make sure, I'm again repeating the same, that this kind of validation check is something which you apply based on the logic required for your particular project, right? This is needed to be done from your side. I'm just giving you a small example by applying one logic behind the error, right? And this is done for the name and email. You can include the number of input fields and check the validation of the form. So this is all about today's video. I hope you understood the concept, each and every concept very clearly, as I explained you in very detailed part. If you like the video, then make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe button, and we will meet in the next video with a fresh new topic. Till then, goodbye.